Hello everyone. This is our first session on literary theory. And in this session, we'll start with our discussions on liberal humanism. I have given you a kind of introduction in our live session. This is like a kind of background, and you can say that, we will try to understand, the concept called liberal humanism in detail. Okay. So, before we get into the concept called liberal humanism, or the theory before theory called liberal humanism, that is how we have defined it, earlier. We will quickly look into the background of English studies, in England. So, because that is very important, in our understanding of the concept called liberal humanism. I have already told you, in its broadest sense, liberal humanism is about what the studies related to human, or you can say where human, the study of man is placed at the center, as against against study of something that is divine or supernatural. When we try to understand the beginning of English studies, you can see that these studies were focusing more on the concept called liberal humanism. So, what exactly led to the beginning of English studies in England? That is what we are going to see. You can say that English as, or you can say English studies or English as a subject, as a discipline, was taught for the first time in England was in the year 1826. Okay. So it is naturally there is a curiosity among us, like what exactly was the higher education scenario in England prior to this 1826. You can see that there were only two universities in England. One is Oxford University and other one is Cambridge University. And both the universities has got so many colleges affiliated to it. And the higher education in England was the monopoly of the Church of England. All these individual colleges, which were affiliated to these two universities, they used to run like monastic institutions. Only men could attend that. Two, students had to be Anglican communicants. Then third one, it's like all the teachers were like ordained ministers, and they should remain unmarried, and they have to stay back in the college. Only three subjects were available for their study. One is classics, which was in fact focusing on Greek and Latin. Second is some subject that is related to divinity, which was in fact being taken by those seeking ordination. And the third one, that is subject that is taught there, was mathematics. Anyone who was a Catholic, a Jewish, or a Methodist, or you can say an atheist, they are barred from the entry to these universities, and thereby they were not allowed to enter into civil services. And this particular system that is that was started somewhere in the Middle Ages. You can see that it was towards the close of the 13th century that these universities got established, and it was in the 13th century. So from then till 1820s, this same system, that is in fact many attempts to reform the situation, but it was like never happened because of the intervention of the conservatives. The breakthrough to the situation came in the 1826 when University College was founded. From 1828, English was offered as a subject, and in the 1829, the first professor of English was appointed. But this particular subject called English was more, focusing on English language than on English literature. And you can see the focus, on English literature as a discipline or as a subject. It started from 1831. And that was in King's College, London. In 1840, F.D. Morris was appointed as the professor at King's College, London. When he became the professor of English literature, you can say, at King's College, he introduced a set of books for the study of this particular new discipline, you can say, and he laid down his principles, like especially he mentioned that in his inaugural lecture, he laid down the principles to be followed, on this particular subject, and they were in fact based on liberal humanism. So you can see that why exactly, literature has in fact been taught as a subject. That particular decision is in fact been backed by the principles of liberal humanism. So it has something to do with what? Liberal humanism. And I quote his words: why there is a need to study literature. It is said to emancipate us from the notions and habits which are peculiar to our own age, connecting us instead with what is fixed and enduring. So you can, if you look into these words, you can see that it is to emancipate us, means the people of England. Okay, so to emancipate us from what? From the some peculiar notions of the age. There are certain things that are emerging as a product of that particular age, which is not quite that belongs to the category called English. Okay, so to teach the people of England, especially, you can see that he in fact says that later, or he confesses that later, he wants to teach the middle class of England, because elites actually belongs to an international, they are part of an international culture, and the poor people, they are more focusing on the survival or their existence, and they are not bothered about what exactly is the culture of England or English people. So the focus is more on the the focus is more on the middle class people. Okay, to teach them what exactly is English culture, or to emancipate these set of people, you can say the middle class people, from the so-called trend of the time, which has got so many elements which are not that much English. So in order to emancipate people from that, they wanted to fix certain ideas, certain ideologies, certain traits as English, and for that they have started teaching what? English. There, yes, of course, the focus is on man. Okay, but you can see that there is a spread of ideology also. The focus is man, the focus is not something that is divine or something that is supernatural. Okay, and that is why we use the term what? We use the term humanism. Okay, I have already explained it earlier. But side by side, along with that, you can see what? You can see that there is an influence of what? Of you can see the mainstream thinking into what? Into this particular ideology, or this particular process called liberal humanism. And there was a point when he says that the middle class people, they represent the Englishness. Okay, so in order to fix it to them, like what exactly is Englishness, that they have introduced this discipline called what? Called English. Okay, or you can say the study of English literature. So according to Peter Barry, he says it is in maintaining the political status quo without any redistribution of wealth that learning English was introduced in colleges and universities. So I hope you have got the background, or you can say the motivation behind the introduction of liberal humanism, or you can say the introduction of English studies into college curriculum, or you can say university curriculum. Okay, so if you have that idea clear in your mind, I think it will be easy for us to understand the concept called liberal humanism. In a way, you can also say that the study of English literature in fact replaced the study of religion. Okay, religion was in fact slowly losing its grip on people, maybe because of so many political, cultural reasons that was there in England, and there was a need to replace it with something that is concrete. Okay, to remain in power. And that is why you can say that the people in authority, they have substituted it with what? Another idea of the so-called Englishness into the minds of the middle class people, and they have introduced the concept called English studies or English literature studies in the curriculum, and thereby introducing, or you can say fixing the mainstream ideologies into the mind of the people. Many critics are against the notion that the introduction of English into the university studies, or you can say college, it is only for the ideological control of the people. Okay, but according to Matthew Arnold, and many other critics of the time, they consider that it is even complex than that. Throughout England, at all the major cities, new colleges started, and they have started offering courses in English. The top two universities of England, Oxford and also Cambridge, you can say they refrained themselves from this new, they were skeptic about this new discipline, and until you can say in Oxford, in Oxford it was introduced in the year 1894, and in Cambridge it was introduced in the year 1911. In one of the discussions, heated debates in Oxford, professor of history by name Edward Freeman, he said, in fact challenged this particular notion of English studies, but still it actually points to the motives behind the introduction of English. He says, we are told that the study of literature cultivates the taste, educates the sympathies, and enlarges the mind. So this you can see that even now it remains as the crux of liberal humanism. Okay, it is to cultivate the taste, the sympathies, and enlarges the mind. So you can see that you are trying to analyze different aspects of human behavior through, or you can say human being, you can say through the study of literature. Okay, when your focus is on that, you can call it as liberal humanism. I think there we can stop the discussion for the day, and in the next session we'll discuss about the 10 tenets of liberal humanism.